102.9 ESPN Radio for Western Montana and across the state on SWX Television.
I like football!
Now, sports talk from Montana for Montana. Live from the Kurtz Polaris studio, here is Ryan Tootell and Coulter Nuanez.
Fully guaranteed contract with Minnesota in 2018. Reigning WNBA MVP and Washington Mystics star Elena Deladon told SportsCenter she was shocked to learn the league denied her request to be medically excused this season. Hoped her status as a star was...
That means we're doing trivia today. Got my trivia questions here all set up for you. Coulter obviously does too because he knew that today was Wednesday all day long. He's known this. He'll know that tomorrow is, of course, Friday. By the way, so we'll get ready for that. We'll do some Desperado wings for you. You can call in. I got some trivia questions for you on some professional sports stuff. At least those are my questions, professional sports. We'll get into a little bit of high school stuff. How about that? The Mavs, a sweep of the Great Falls Chargers last night. Charlie Kiergan had a big night last night, both at the dish and pitching in Game 2 of the doubleheader. So we'll get there. Great Falls High, also a new volleyball coach for the Great Falls High School volleyball team. So we get into it. That is the show today. Coulter, sitting over there, coughing up a lung. Very good. How are you, man? Nice to see you.
It's a nervous tick.
It's a nervous tick. You got sailboats on your shirt.
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
Great. Wanted to just mention this today. You know, we do sports around here. Okay, that's right. It's ESPN. But first and foremost, are we not dedicated to the great state, huh? Montana.
Indeed,
that's what
we're
here to do. So it's worth noting, and we just thought we'd pass this along as a matter of information, but Steve Bullock, the governor of the state of Montana, has passed a statewide mask mandate. It is... when I say statewide, it's limited in its scope, even though it covers the whole state. You know, a lot of counties, including Missoula, have had Whitefish, I know as well, among others, have had mask mandates already in their jurisdictions in the smaller area. This scope obviously widens out to the statewide level, but it only is triggered in counties where there are 4 or more active COVID cases. So presumably this mandate could start in other places and end in other places, depending on how and where the coronavirus cases pop up. But it applies to certain indoor businesses that are open to the public. It also applies to outdoor gatherings where there are 50 or more people when distancing is not possible. And so this is... even though it's statewide, it is still a limited mandate as far as it goes. But again, we've been in most of the cities, at least the sort of higher populated areas in the state of Montana. I think masks have been pretty well incorporated, but now it's going to be, I think, even more stringent. And I know a lot of business owners have already taken to it for their own establishments. That hey, we're going to do that in here. We here for us, you and I, we don't have masks on. We are distanced from one another, and we are also not open to the public. In fact, people who win, but that's actually true. Like normally we are open to the public, but we have been closed closed to the public since we moved into this new building.
Yeah, if you do win a prize on our show, namely Wing It Wednesday later today, we'll just send it to your house.
It goes to the mail. We've been sending them out via the mail for the Trail for all of it, which is why we're not sending bagels out anymore. That's an expensive and you get them stale by the time they come around to you, so we avoid that. But certainly worth noting, 145 new cases as of yet today in the state of Montana, which, again, we've talked about this a lot. Are those actually new cases? Is it just more availability of testing? Is it more people deciding to get tested because they can now? All that kind of thing. So we understand that these, the numbers as such as they are there's influences to those, but the more pertinent part to me anyway, 37 people are in the hospital in the state of Montana currently, and 34 people have died from COVID-19 in the state of Montana. And so, anything that we can do, I think, is worth doing. And at the end of the day, wearing a mask is not the biggest deal in the world. You put the thing on, you go out, you take care of one another, and it's an act of kindness and carefulness for people, it seems to me. So let's just do this thing.
The weaponizing and political sides of this is just it gives me such a headache. Yep. And I wish we could just stop arguing about it, because it doesn't matter what you think of government control or whatever the implications are of people that wear masks. I just think that we should all just live with some caution for a few more months to see how we can do with this thing. I mean, like the head of the CDC said yesterday, if everybody just stays home as much as they can, like they were doing when we were essentially quarantined, and if people just wear masks when they do go out for essential outings, we can smash this thing by Labor Day. That sounds great. We should all get in on that.
Does sound pretty
Sounds
great.
Like something we should not argue about. Anyways, before we get into Trisha Bivers' contract, do you want to hear a darkly comical yet also incredibly tragic Montana story?
Well, not really.
I think it's worth telling because I think that it has a little bit of a funny personal angle, but also something that's probably I don't know. You don't want to compare tragedies, but it's a really sad day. So my brother has two young children.
Yes.
One's 3.5 before in September. The other one was just born in December. He's
6 months.
6 months.
7 months, yeah.
Right. And anybody that has kids, changes their life in a variety of ways, oftentimes for the best and oftentimes in the best ways. But as you know, true alone time.
Hard to come by.
In fact, probably impossible during that first 4 or 5 year stretch.
That's why I stay up till 3 a.m.
Yeah, right.
For those 90 alone. Minutes from 1:30 to 3.
Yep. So my brother Brooks, his beautiful wife, is in Missoula for this week because her sister, who lives in Arizona, is up visiting. Their grandparents are still alive, so they're hanging out with the grandparents and doing the whole thing with cousins or hanging out playing. But my brother's coming here this weekend, but. He's got to work in Bozeman, and as people that follow our work knows, Brooks is, in my humble opinion, the best sports photographer in the entire Big Sky Conference. He is an incredibly talented guy, but photography's been a hobby of his for his whole life, and so he loves just taking photos, not just of sports. So like their whole house is decorated in all these beautiful landscape pictures that he's taking.
Great shots.
And so last night, my brother also works as a specialty wine and beer salesman. One of his main territories is the Paradise Valley, so from Livingston through Gardner. Mm-hmm. So a lot of those places that are really high traffic during the summer because of tourism, because of Yellowstone. I mean, he's basically providing the beer and wine for all the people that lead up to the gates of Yellowstone Park. Yeah. Great territory to have. He's developed a lot of good relationships, a lot of really good friends. He works in Gardner on Wednesdays. It's a pretty good drive, about 150 miles round trip from Bozeman to there. So he decides, going with my family, I'm going to go camp on Tuesday night, and I'm going to take pictures of the sunset. I'm going to be all alone, no cell phone service. This is going to be the greatest night of his life. So he goes driving. He stops at every single campground between Livingston and Gardner. Cannot find a camping spot.
Doesn't exist.
Every single one is full. He said that he's checked 230 camping spots. Full.
All of them.
So he's like, well, I'm already down here. I don't want to drive back. So he's got a couple clients down there that are become good friends. So he calls up one of his buddies, says, man, could I camp in your yard? I don't want to impede on your night or whatever you're doing, but I'm down here. I'd plan on camping. I had nowhere to camp. Can I come stay at your house? And okay, sure. Sounds good. So then as Brooks is pulling in, so he doesn't get the darkly comical is that he gets his one time alone. He doesn't actually get to go.
See, that is
isolated.
That is just comical. Yeah, right. I didn't think it. I didn't think. I thought we were going to get worse than that. Well, so I'm glad that's
all. That's all good.
Yeah.
The tragic part is this: he pulls into Gardner last night. 3 of the downtown buildings have just burst into flames. The fire's been going for Brooks said maybe 15, 20 minutes by the time he'd gotten there. And so then he goes to his buddy's house because Buddy owns one of these places. Like, dude, downtown's on fire. What? What's going on? So almost the entire town of Gardner burned almost to the ground last night. Like 6 or 7 establishments are gone, and a bunch of other ones are completely decimated.
You're kidding me.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Like, so terrible. Like, pandemic be
Does
damned.
Anybody know what happened? Like, anything? What happened?
It was like a grease fire. Something like somebody left a burner on.
Did Tommy Evans show up?
Yeah, exactly.
Gardner
Right. That's what I was thinking too. But
took a walk.
I know, but I mean, like, pandemic be damned. Like, one of the places that burnt to the ground has been down there since like the opening of Yellowstone National Park in the 1800s.
Well, we're going to have to find out
this is
more
irreplaceable stuff, you know?
Our dear friend...
I know, I was thinking about Chase.
Robert Chase, the program director over there on the trail, his daughter lives in Gardner and, in fact, has a business. Now, it's an ice cream truck, so hopefully it's not part of all this. But that's terrible news, Coulter. I hope that, first of all, that everybody's safe, but secondly, man, Gardner's like one of the historic cities of or towns of Montana, and also obviously the entrance and or exit to Yellowstone at that spot, and that is a shame, man. The fires, they can do it. Didn't the fire take down the one store in Condon a couple years back?
Did, yeah. This is from my brother. He said most of the buildings in Gardner are 108 years old. And they're made from the huge old-style timbers that buildings used to be built upon. So when the fire got to the wall of the Two-Bit Saloon, which is one of the historic places in Gardner, the entire block had no chance because it's just, once it's hot enough to ignite that robust of basically a log, it's just going to burn.
Well, the only silver lining, I'm always looking for silver linings in this stuff. Maybe when they rebuild the saloon, it can be 4 bits and they can double their profits. Maybe they can do that.
No doubt.
Tootell, Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Okay, thank you, I guess, for the show.
I know, I'm sorry. I just thought that was important because it is, I mean, Gardner's a historic town in Montana and right at the gates of Yellowstone and really well known. Before we get to Binford's contract, though, tease for the second hour, we will have our ESPN roundtable this week. Michael Sean Dugar from The Athletic is going to join us. He covers the Seahawks for The Athletic, and a variety of things to talk to him about, NFL in general, the Seahawks, what's going on with them, this whole saga with the player that they had that got arrested. That's been crazy. A new coach at Washington State. He's a Wazoo alum, so I'm sure he's got some thoughts on Coach Rolovich as well. And then probably talk about the state of the world as well, because Mike's a very socially conscious guy that I know he has a lot of good stuff to say as well. So second hour, stay tuned for that. Michael Sean Dugar from The Athletic.
Mike Dugar, our good friend, been on with us a lot, but does it generally during the football season. So it'll be good to have him on now heading into it and see, kind of what's going on in general with the Seahawks and then the NFL at large. He's got his finger on the pulse there working for The Athletic. Coulter, Tricia Binford, one of our favorites certainly, is the head coach of the Montana State women's basketball team. She signed a new contract. It is a 3-year extension, which is, we've always said is the limit of what you could get. Of course, Bobby Houck signed a 4-year extension, so that's evidently you could get more if the right channels are pursued. But generally speaking, the 3-year is the maximum that you can do. Her new contract goes into effect on July 1st, and it increased her base salary. It's not quite $10,000, $9,000 up to $165,000, and that is notable because she is the only women's basketball coach in the Big Sky Conference whose base salary earning is higher than the men's basketball coach. She's $1,000 past Danny Sprinkle as far as that goes. She's the longest tenured head coach in women's head coach in the Big Sky Conference.
It's your 16th season this upcoming season.
And has obviously been absolutely fantastic. Montana State had its greatest season in program history last year, and she has just been a steady stalwart there with Montana State for years, and really has continued to she got that program up to a certain level, and it kind of planed, and now she's taken it even to yet another new level. And so congratulations to her on doing that. It is worth noting the base salary is where you start as a coach, obviously, but there's a lot of ways to earn money and a lot of contractual ways that you earn money as a coach at the collegiate level, Division I collegiate athletics. And when it comes to things like media, there's media responsibilities. I think there's $25,000 stipend in there for her for that. I think that's $45,000 in Danny Sprinkle's contract. And so when you go through the money games that you can make because the revenues are bigger on the Montana or on the men's side than they are on the women's side for basketball, can increase the men's basketball salary, total salary significantly more than it can the women's head coach. So ultimately, being the men's coach is more lucrative than it is to be the women's head coach. That said, I think it's in a day when contracts are public information, at state schools, and particularly in professional sports where contracts are viewed less about the money and more about the respect or about what this means for you as, what a franchise thinks about you, that sort of thing. I think it is noteworthy that she earned that contract, certainly has earned that contract, and that I don't think it being $1,000 more than the men's head coach is an accident. I think that was a choice that was made to make that a notable benchmark that she has achieved, and a lot of recognition and respect from Leon Costello, from Nuanez Cruzado, and from the university in general to her. So congratulations to her on that. I also think it's worth noting, and Danny Sprinkle is great on this stuff, but he tweeted out about this contract, retweeting about the fact that she is now making more than he is at that base rate. Quote, couldn't be happier for @Coach Ben. She deserves all caps everything she's getting. It's absolutely awesome to work with her and her @MSU Bobcats women basketball staff. #GoCats. So certainly Coach Sprinkle, there's no rift there, which I guess in certain places or in certain situations maybe would be a concern, something like that, but not for him. He's excited for her, and no question that she's earned that.
No question she's earned it. She's multiple-time Big Sky Conference Coach of the Year. She's led the Bobcats to, I guess if you count this year, 2 Big Sky titles out of the last 4 seasons. She's coached multiple Big Sky Conference MVPs. They've won 3 regular season Big Sky Conference championships over the last 5 years. So they are the premier program in the league right now, I would say. I mean, them in Idaho. But I think that the way that they draw and the enthusiasm that she's created in the Bozeman community for basketball from the women's perspective, and to be completely frank, the momentum that she's stolen from the rival. I mean, Tricia Binford, not only is she the longest tenured coach in the Big Sky Conference, she's the coach that I have covered the longest of any coach in my career, because it's very rare that you ever have coaches in place for a decade plus. This next season will be the 11th year I've covered her. Watching the evolution of the program under her was quite fascinating. When I first started covering them, they were a very guard-based, dribble drive type team, a direct reflection of how Tricia Binford was as a player. She was an all-time great at Boise State, played in the WNBA, played overseas in Australia for a long time. Herself a consummate pro and an outstanding player. Her teams looked like her when she first started coaching,
right.
And they were pretty good. They were always competitive, but they always lacked a couple missing pieces. But she got all the other elements of the program laid down during the 2000s into the early 2010s, which starts and finishes with their academics. Montana State is a challenging academic school. Tricia Binford has done a better job of the academic side of things than I would argue any coach in the Big Sky Conference, regardless of sports, period. Montana State's women's basketball team has ranked in the top 10 in the country in both GPA and high-level courses that they're taking in the STEM disciplines. Top 10 team in the country for a decade straight. I mean, you're talking about the best students on campus a lot of times are the women's basketball players. That's an amazing accomplishment in itself. So she laid down that foundation first. Then with a variety of different changes on her staff, I think that she was maybe hamstrung a little bit the first half of her career because she has such great basketball acumen. She didn't have to have a definitive style because she had played for and coached under so many great coaches during her early career, both as a player and a coach, that she knew how she was comfortable with running a variety of offensive systems. It's not like with Brian Fish when he was at Montana State, how he runs this spread Dana Altman style offense. It's not like Travis DeCuire where he has so much of the high-low that he got from Stu Morrill and Blaine Taylor, the guys he played with. I mean, they have definitive systems that they're comfortable with, and that's how most coaches are. Binford could run all the systems, but they could never really make their talent match up with the system they were running until all of a sudden she decided, we're going to open up the Minnesota pipeline, so we're going to start recruiting Minneapolis because we think that there's a huge opportunity there. They did that, and they have all these Minneapolis area, North Dakota area girls on their team that are familiar with playing with each other that come to Montana State. Then they tap into the Spokane pipeline. They get that Spokane Sandpipers AAU program that John Stockton helped coach, and they get a variety of girls from there. Lindsey Stockton, Hannah Cottle, and the pipeline runs deep. And then they matched it all up. And when she started running, they went back to a system that was almost utterly based on skill and skill development. Then they started rolling. And, I mean, I know that there's people out there that don't like women's basketball or they have bad things to say about women's basketball. If you watch Montana State play the last several years, it is a thing of beauty. I mean, they are a well-oiled machine. If you like offense, you like ball movement, like it's good. I mean, The way they pass, the way that they move without the ball, I mean, it's great basketball. I mean, it is exceptional basketball, and she deserves a ton of credit for that. And so this, I think, is affirmation of that. She has managed every element of the women's basketball program at Montana State to turn them into elite. And I think I don't know if anybody ever thought that could happen when Robin Selvig was the head of the Lady Grizz. And now here we are. Now Binford has a chance to be kind of like the next Selvig, right? I mean, she's been at Montana State now for 16 years. She's got it rolling. They have all these intrinsic advantages.
Just 22 more seasons. Yeah, right. Reel them in.
Yeah, just 600 more wins. But I mean, either way, though, I think it's been really fun to watch. And I think that Coach Binford deserves a ton of credit because I think she's an amazing asset to the Big Sky Conference.
Tootell, Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You're absolutely right. It is also going to be very interesting to me to see how this season goes because it was not just the best team in program history, but it was as senior laden as you see at anywhere in college basketball. What just graduated from Montana State. And even though they return what is, I think, to both of us, the best point guard in the conference in Darian White, and Cola Big Bear, who was coming off an injury and really was starting to work into it. You can see the talent that she is. So there's players on the team still. But they had something special and unique last season that you can't just recreate. Everybody talks about, hey, let's reload. Okay, we graduate. Whoever we graduate, now we got to come back even stronger the next year. You occasionally get a group that goes through. That just doesn't happen. You can't just make that. Because if you could, everybody would. And they had it last season. And it is, of all the teams, man, in the state of Montana, really in the Big Sky Conference, that got the carpet pulled out from under them, that's the one that you feel just the worst for because it was magical what was going on
100%, man.
last year.
The Big Sky, they were going to push the committee. They were going to highly suggest a 10 seed for that team. I mean, that would have been an awesome thing for the league. This whole situation of watching the program grow and watching to the point where they're at right now, and you look at the momentum that's on the Montana State campus, the momentum that exists in Bozeman, and the way that those things go hand in hand with female athletes who play basketball, I think this is an opportunity for Montana State. If I was Montana State, I think my number one investment strategy over the next 10 years would be women's basketball. Mm-hmm. I would go all in on it. Because their attendance is rapidly rising. They averaged more than 2,000 fans a game last year. You have a population that I think is both affluent and intellectual enough to really buy into women's basketball. I think that you have a school that can attract the best and brightest, not only from an athletic standpoint, but from an academic standpoint. I just think that if you went all in on it, I don't see any reason why they couldn't be on par with Gonzaga. Not men, but women. I mean, the Gonzaga women are perennially, an 8 to 10 seed in the tournament. I think Montana State could for sure get there if they went all in on it.
Well, as far as the Big Sky Conference goes, they really have gone all in on it. The U.S. Department of Education analysis says that Montana State led the Big Sky Conference in terms of their financial investment into women's basketball expenses for 2018-19, just capping $1.542 million. They ranked 6th in revenue. In total, just basically right at $1.3 million. So they spent about
that surprised me.
$250,000 more than they took in, and it is surprising that they're 6th in revenue.
I don't really know how would you really gain more revenue than what they have. I mean, only Montana has more higher attendance.
Yeah, so it obviously isn't an attendance-based thing. It's revenue from I don't know what it may, if that includes boosters, if that includes whatever it might include.
Maybe.
I don't know the answer to that. But, let's put it like this. The deficit that is being spent for women's basketball is certainly well worth it. I mean, it's not in terms of athletic departments and university dollars and cents. It's not a huge sum of money, the $250,000. But it is also to Montana State's credit in that respect that they have chosen to spend money on that program, and they are, they are seeing the return in terms of the results on the floor.
Well, absolutely. And when you do invest in it, and then you cultivate the student athletes like they have too, now you have the dream of an athletic department is to be that external marketing unit for the university. That dream is so often not fully achieved. It's being achieved by this program, though, because then you have young ladies that graduate that then become spokesmen for your university. I mean, how good of an advertisement is Blair Braxton for Montana State, right?
Pretty good.
She's flawless as her speaking ability, the way she touts Montana State, both personally and professionally. I mean, they hired her straight off the bench. I mean, she's going from player to coach right now. That's the reputation that she's formed. But you could say that about so many of these young ladies, and I think that's a testament to Tricia Binford, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Is cultivating young people, giving young people the ultimate opportunities, and that's what Montana State women's basketball has been doing.
Boys and girls, it's a Wednesday, and it is time for you to get involved. 361-3688, 361-3688. We have wings to the Desperado Sports Tavern. I got a couple of trivia questions for you. Give us a call right now, 361-3688. You could win yourself wings to the Desperado, the best wings in the city, and a shirt as well. So give us a shout, 361-3688. We'll do a Wing It Wednesday right after this. Hey, the second annual Smoke on the Water presents Fire in the Hole. It's a 9-hole golf scramble. It's Saturday, July 25th, so a week from Saturday at the Linda Vista Golf Course. Registration begins at 1 o'clock. The shotgun start is at 2 o'clock. It's going to go through the evening. There's going to be dinner there after the round. Festivities going till 8 o'clock. There's going to be an after party at the Rhino. They have both a live and silent auction. It includes original artwork from Daniel James, a guided fishing trip, a pheasant hunting trip, a signed bottle of Jesse James bourbon, 4 rounds of golf at the country club. You got all kinds of stuff going on. If you would like to see the auction items, go online to cigarsonthewater.com. That's cigarsonthewater.com, and you can check out the auction items. You can also register. It's $125. Tickets are available at cigarsonthewater.com as well. Partial proceeds of this event are going to go to the Western Montana Shrine Club, so you can have a great time. This is a lot of fun, a really fun event. There's also going to be some live music throughout the afternoon out there, so a fun day. Again, it's Saturday, July 25th, a week from this Saturday, out at the Linda Vista Golf Course. Find out everything you need to know and register at cigarsonthewater.com. Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
Now more than ever, we appreciate the value of relationships. Opportunity Bank has been serving Montanans and building strong relationships since 1922. With banking services for your family and your business, Opportunity Bank is with you as we move through these challenging times. For the latest information about how Opportunity Bank is working with customers and communities during the COVID-19 crisis, visit our website at opportunitybank.com. We are all in this together. Opportunity Bank of Montana, member FDIC.
Colter Nuanez here from Tootell Nuanez. I'm here with Tom from Aspen Sound. They tell me Tootell Nuanez sounds pretty darn good on a custom sound system. Tom, tell the people how they can get outfitted with custom sound from Aspen Sound.
Colter, we've got lots of goodies for anything you might be playing on this spring, whether it's a boat, ATV, or just your vehicle. Apple CarPlay systems are on sale, and we've got tower speakers, inboard LED speakers, all sorts of goodies. Just give us a call or...
Feel the music at Aspen Sound. After a long couple of months, it's finally feeling like we're getting back to business as usual. But it's not the usual at all. At Missoula's Wingate, we are, as always, committed to giving you a relaxing stay at a great value. But we're also balancing the new guidelines like maximum pool occupancies and increased disinfecting to protect your health with a never-ending pledge to make you feel at home when you're not. If you find yourself on the road in the Missoula area, please consider staying with us at Missoula's Wingate.
The world of real estate is always evolving. That's more true now than ever. If you are a longtime Missoulian that is looking to upgrade or downsize, it might be the best time yet to sell. If you're in the position to buy something new, today might be the best time to buy. And no matter what questions you have when it comes to residential or commercial real estate, Mike Nugent and the professionals at Berkshire Hathaway in Missoula have your answers. To find out what Mike can do for you, give him a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Most fall sports competition until 2021. That decision matriculated into Montana with the NJCAA 8 members, Dawson Community College in Glendive and Miles City Community College in Miles City. The decision affects all close contact athletic events that begin during the fall semester, including football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, and men's and women's soccer. Those seasons will instead commence in January.
Former University of Montana defensive lineman Cole Rosling is headed to Butte. Helena Capital product announced on Twitter on Tuesday that he will play his fifth and final season at Montana Tech. 6'5", 264-pound D tackle was the 2015 Class AA Defensive Player of the Year for the Bruins. Also a first-team All-State selection during his senior year at Capital. During his 4 years with the Grizzlies, Rosling struggled to break in the rotation. He earned a pair of letters and recorded a pair of tackles during his Montana career.
You know, it helps if you turn the right microphone on.
Yeah, well, you're a pro.
I am an absolute pro. We'll reread the news later.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Aspen Sound.
Like the dancing.
Just sitting here going, this kind of sounds weird. I don't really hear myself. Is it my headphones? Something going on? Reese back there trying to help me out, turn the music down? No, it's because you're a moron, right? That's why. 361-3688. You want to do a Wing It Wednesday? I had some great questions for you. NFL, MLB, NBA. I took one from each one. I like these questions. You want some wings to the Desperado? Call us right now, 361-3688. 361-3688. Best wings in the city of Missoula. And I'm happy with these questions right here. So we will get into it. Dak Prescott. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
What's Lyme disease?
Yeah. I know why you're asking me this.
Yeah.
I believe it is, what are they? What's your not nervous system, but it's autoimmune disease.
Sure.
I think it's one of those, which also I have no idea what that means. So those are just words that I say to try and hold place so that somebody else who actually knows what's going on answers the question. But I don't know all of those things. It's like Crohn's, right? Is some variation? I don't know.
Okay. Well, we were just talking women's basketball because we were talking about Trisha Binford and her contract extension, and then I saw a Twitter alert. The Players Tribune is something that I have so many mixed feelings about because I, on one hand, think it's an amazing platform and some of the best pieces of writing that I have read online in the last 10 years has been on the Players Tribune. I think it gives athletes a platform to be open and express themselves and tell the real story.
Yeah.
I also think it's just such a precarious situation for the future of journalism because who needs me to interview you if you can just write whatever you want yourself?
Well, that's a little different deal. I don't think that's an issue.
It is, but regardless, today's Players Tribune is by probably my favorite women's basketball player, Elena Delle Donne, who I think is just ridiculous. I just think that she's one of the most fun athletes in the world to watch. I think she's unbelievable. But it's all about her battle with Lyme disease.
Yeah.
And the lead is I take 64 pills a day. 64 pills.
Yeah.
That's 25 for breakfast, another 20 after breakfast, 10 before dinner, and 9 before bed. She has Lyme disease. That's crazy. I don't really know how you acquire that or what it is. It seems so strange.
She's such she's a league MVP, is she not? Or was the league MVP?
I think she's won 2 league MVPs.
Yeah, amazing player. All right. Coulter will come back to that, but we go now to the phones, and we welcome Cal to the show for a Wing It Wednesday. Hi, Cal. How are you?
Good. How's it going, gentlemen? I can actually answer your Lyme disease questions, too.
This is great.
We need help.
So it's you get it from deer ticks. They're little tiny ticks, like probably a tenth of the size of a dog tick out here. And it attacks your immune system and everything, and it never leaves you once you get it. So once you get it, you have it for life.
Is it an autoimmune disease?
Yes.
Bang! Tootell strikes again with other things that he doesn't know about, answering questions correctly. This is great. Well, thank you, Cal. That's helpful. We appreciate that very much.
So, but once you get it, you cannot cure it. Is that right?
Well, you have it for life. My older brother has it. My best friend has it. It's crazy.
Wow.
There are some.
That's so bad.
There's a lot of diseases actually that you have for life that then are somehow dormant in your body.
Well,
but Lyme disease,
I think
maybe not.
like strep, like the strep bacteria.
Chicken pox.
Right. Epstein-Barr, like also known as mono.
Yeah. Arthritis. Okay. Said that. Let's throw that in. Cal, let's try and have some fun. Can we do that here with you today?
Let's go.
We got 3 questions, my man. If you get 2 of them, you got yourself wings to the Desperado. If you get 3, we're sending you a shirt. We'll get it all to you in the mail. So make sure you get your information to Reese there in the back. If you need help on any one of these, Coulter is your lifeline, all right?
All right.
Boy, some chicken wings would really hit the spot. Tell me likey. Tell me what wingy.
Okay, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with my questions today because I think they're gettable, but I don't think they're just absolutely layups. And I think that we're going to have some fun. So here's question number 1. I got an NFL, a baseball, and an NBA question for you. Question number 1, Cal. Dak Prescott did not come to terms on a long-term deal with the Dallas Cowboys, okay? So the signing deadline was earlier today. So all the signings that are going to happen have happened now in the NFL. It's official. He will play on the exclusive franchise tag. He's going to earn $31.4 million this season. So I don't think we need to sit here and feel bad for Dak Prescott that he didn't get a long-term deal. 31.4 is pretty good. Here's the question, though. How many, out of all the teams in the league, in total, what percentage of those teams, about what percentage, are franchising a player? And this is a multiple choice. Is it half the teams in the league, a third of the teams in the league, or a quarter of the teams in the league that are franchising an NFL player?
I'm going to go with half.
Coulter, what do you think?
I would have said half as well. I'm usually really good at knowing this kind of stuff. I will fully admit that I thought it was actually a requirement that everybody had to franchise a player.
Yeah, I thought every single team tagged somebody.
Me too. I would have said 100% of the teams.
It's good, Cal, that you didn't use your lifeline because he would have steered you wrong, but you steered yourself wrong, my friend. I'm sorry.
That happens.
It is a third.
That's it.
12 out of 32. It's a little over a third, but it is roughly a third of the teams in the NFL, 12 out of 32, have franchised a player for this season.
Well, I bet you that the New England Patriots are the only ones that franchised a guard.
An offensive guard, yes. Okay, here's question number 2. Cal, Major League Baseball. The MLB season is scheduled to begin a week from tomorrow, 8 days, with 2 games, 2 primetime games on ESPN television. Can you name one of the 4 teams that will be playing in the Major League Baseball actual opening day on, I think it's the 23rd of July?
Yankees?
The Yankees are, I believe, one of the teams. I didn't write them down. I researched them before, and now I'm sitting here second-guessing myself. The Yankees would be a very reasonable guess. We'll come back to that, but we're going to give that one to you because I believe that is correct.
Okay.
Question number 3. I want all 3 of these, okay? Because, well, there's a clear separation. We like to tier things, put things in tiers. What 3 NBA teams have the shortest odds, that means the most likely, to win the NBA title this season according to Las Vegas numbers? What 3 teams? I want all 3 of them.
Well, I mean, I still got the lifeline, so let's see what Colts thinks.
It's a good choice.
You got the 2 teams from LA, the Lakers and the Clippers, and then you also got the Milwaukee Bucks. I think those are the only 3 teams with plus 300 or lower odds, according to Vegas.
That's exactly what I was thinking, so let's go with it.
You are absolutely right. Plus 200 for the Lakers, plus 280, I believe it is now, for the Clippers, and like plus 310 or something for the Bucks. Nobody else is better than plus 800. It is those 3 teams. By the way, just to clarify here for you, Yankees-Nats Game 1. 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, first pitch for that, followed by the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So you got the defending World Series champions versus the Yankees. Then you got the big California rivalry with obviously the Dodgers, who are probably everybody's odds-on favorite to win this shortened season World Series. Cal, excellently done by you, my friend. You got yourself wings to the Desperado, and you should feel very, very good about yourself for having done that. Again, give your information to Reese. We'll get you set up. All right, man?
All right, thank you very much, guys.
You got it. Cal did. Very well done. Lakers, Clips, Bucks. That's what you need to know. Anybody else, it's a surprise.
The most recent Sports Illustrated had sort of a quick-hitting section about the way the pandemic, or specific people that the pandemic is going to affect, just like little anecdotes or little things like that. Yeah. One of them was a great essay by Chris Ballard, who's one of my favorite NBA writers, all about Vince Carter, and just how no one's really acknowledged how unfortunate it is that Vince Carter is one of the Iron Men in the history of the league, and he didn't get any sort of proper send-off because...
Right. Didn't get a final game, and
they announced the NBA was canceled when there was like 5 minutes to go in the game that was going. But it's an NBA game, so it's not like high school where they just shut it down.
Right.
So they finished the game.
They put Vince in.
And they put him in to shoot a 3, and he's like sitting here like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to shoot the last shot of my career right now because we hadn't really planned this.
Which he buried.
He did. He buried it. But, I mean, what an unfortunate ending. But the other, Tom Verducci wrote a little essay about how because of a variety of little nagging injuries, we've already been robbed of about 25 games a year over the last 3 years of Mike Trout. And how now, even if he stays healthy this whole year, we're getting robbed of more than 100 games of Mike Trout. And how he's already put up historic numbers. He's already, I mean, in my mind, if it ended tomorrow, he's a Hall of Famer.
But he's already missed what is, with this, a season basically.
Basically. And so Verducci was just saying how unfortunate we've had this whole series of events leading up to this that's already robbed us of Mike Trout. And then now when Mike Trout is literally at the age where you are in the absolute prime. It's where your peak athleticism and your peak wisdom meet. 28 years old. I mean, pretty much every great baseball player had their best season when they're between 28 and 30. And it's just too bad that Mike Trout is only going to get a third of that year. It'll be so interesting to see how it affects his end game numbers, because missed games is going to be a huge part of the narrative, even though his numbers are going to be out of this world when it's all said and done.
You know, I think baseball has messed this up right here.
Yeah.
And, I jump on the bandwagon, right? But Yankees-Nats is great. You get the Yankees, who are the definitive, I think, AL favorites, everybody would say, against the defending World Series champions. And you have the Dodgers, who are, really pretty much the best team in baseball on paper. I mean, with Mookie Betts coming in and saying, I get it. I mean, the Giants-Dodgers is as heated a rivalry as you get with you Cubs, Cards in the Midwest, and obviously Sox, Yankees in the East. That's huge. Okay, I understand that. There is no way that's the matchup that should be. It should be the Angels and Ohtani and Trout and Joe Madden as the new manager, and with the only game in America to reinstitute professional sports in the country, that you don't put Mike Trout out there is insane. And the Giants stink, man. They're no good.
This is my biggest gripe with baseball, man. They're so bad at promoting their stars. Yeah. Imagine if there was a doubleheader in the NBA and LeBron James wasn't one of those games.
Oh, it'd be...
It's not happening.
It would be... You would watch...
LeBron James would call the head of TNT and say, hey, my game's the one that's going on.
No doubt. It's crazy. It is crazy. And I understand, they got the scheduling and it's the different, divisions, whatever. You put Mike Trout in a spotlight game that's the only game, not just in your sport, but in sports on the first day that it comes back. That's the end of the story.
Exactly. And you prepare a giant package to pump him up. And,
mic him up. He doesn't want it. It doesn't matter,
dude. Mic him up. Mic him up.
All that stuff.
Whatever, man.
But if you're baseball, that's what you do. Period.
It drives me crazy, man. I was thinking. I mean, I've been going through all my baseball cards during these last crazy months, and I've been, really trying to. My eternal sports question for myself is, we always talk about on the show, what happened to my obsession with baseball? And I've come to more wholly understand what happened to me and to baseball. But so much of it is the lack of promoting the stars, man.
And look,
I would argue that none of these guys are being promoted on the level that even the top 25 guys. I mean, there's not a star like even Manny Ramirez was never like A-list top of the ticket. He was always a all-star type guy, but he's a way bigger star than anybody in baseball is right now. David Ortiz, Albert Pujols, and then all the guys from the 90s, Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Frank Thomas. All these guys were such bigger stars than what they are now.
They are. And look, for Mike Trout, he doesn't want to be that. And that's okay. Like, I don't begrudge him that. But there are guys, like Yasiel Puig was going to be that, and then he couldn't be that because it didn't go well on the field. He just signed someplace. Nobody even is completely anonymous.
I don't know why they don't go all in on some of these other guys, though, like the Acuna kid for the Braves. Like, go all in on that guy. He's awesome.
Yeah.
There's several really marketable guys. Carlos Correa, why has he not become a bigger star? He has the moment. He wins the World Series, proposes to his girlfriend, and then there's just no stories or follow-ups. Like, I know there's ESPN. I'm not going to go all the way down the rabbit hole, but there's a lot of different media entities in the professional sports mainstream media that they beat a lot of the same dead horses.
Yeah.
Give me some stories on some of these like sweet up and coming baseball players. Do yourself a favor. Promote the sport.
By the way, just so that we're clear, I want to make sure I got my numbers right on the odds. Lakers are plus 200.
Yeah.
Bucks plus 280. Not the Clips. The Clippers are plus 300.
Okay.
The next is the Celtics at plus 1,200. So it is precipitous after those first three before you get to, on the odds side, somebody to win the NBA Finals that isn't the LA teams or the Milwaukee Bucks. It's Tootell and Nuanez. We'll do another Wing It Wednesday in the second hour. Top of the hour, Mike Dugar from The Athletic. But next, a sweep by the Missoula Mavericks of the Great Falls Chargers and some not Legion baseball, and also Great Falls High has a new head volleyball coach. Next.
We've missed short drives to see friends, long drives to see family. We've missed road trips, car camping, heck, we've even missed commuting. We're grateful to be getting back on the road, and Les Schwab wants to help you drive safe, just like we always have. To help get you rolling again safely, we're happy to offer up to $110 off a set of 4 select tires. Les Schwab Tires. Doing the right thing matters. Limited time offer while supplies last. Actual discount amount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
Automated Living is a Missoula-based smart technology company. If you are looking for a new home theater, some quality hi-fi music on your deck or den, a screen and projector in your boardroom, one button to turn off all the lights, cameras to monitor your parking lot, or a security system to keep you and your family safe? Automated Living has a solution for you. We make our clients' lives easier and more enjoyable while giving peace of mind with streamlined control of all elements in the home or office. Contact us today for a free consultation.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana.
Hello, Montanans. Times have been uncertain, but we here at the Montana Club have relished seeing how our communities have pulled together. We've been grateful to serve you delivery and takeout, which we will continue to do, and we are excited to announce that our dining room is open again. Thank you for supporting us during this time. We can't wait to see you and serve you all of your Montana Club favorites. As always, we are here for you. We are Montana. Welcome back to the club, the Montana Club, on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Yes, Polaris is open. The great outdoors are wide open, so why not make the most of it during the Polaris Summer Sales event? Take the family on a cross-country adventure with Polaris General, the world's most comfortable, most powerful sports utility machines. Kick up some dust in a Razor, the off-road's most thrilling performance side-by-sides. Grab the bars of a legendary Sportsman ATV and discover the freedom of unstoppable performance. Or get more done between your fence lines with Ranger, America's favorite off-road workhorse. There's never been a better time to say yes to outdoor adventure. Enjoy rebates up to $1,000 on the off-road's best during the Polaris Summer Sales event at Kurtz Polaris. Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula and Highway 83 in Sealy. Kurtz has all the best in off-roading with dirt bikes and side-by-sides, and now Kurtz has Crest pontoon boats in stock for the season. Summer is here at Kurtz Polaris, online at kurtzpolaris.com. Offers valid in U.S. on new 2016 through 2020 vehicles. Offer vary by model. See dealer for details. Always wear a helmet. Never drink and ride.
If it matters to Missoula, it matters to us. Ryan Tootell and Colter Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Boys and girls, Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. That's WX Montana Television. At Gus Tootell on your Twitter. At 102.9 ESPN. At Skyline Sports MT. A lot of people getting in on the informal poll question yesterday. What's the most Montana thing? They're having fun with that. Field day on Twitter. Good stuff. It is time for our Prep Extra segment. It's brought to us by the Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank is offering the Summer Better Sweepstakes. You get a chance to win $5,000. That's right. It's very easy. Download the mobile money app and then use Zelle to send money. Use Zelle to send money. Anytime you send $5 or more with Zelle, you get a sweepstakes entry. It's just that easy. It doesn't cost anything. You're already sending the money anyway. Okay, just use Zelle on the Farmers State Bank mobile money app. And at the end of this month, you build up all those sweepstakes entries. Somebody's going to win $5,000. Just that simple. Visit farmersebank.com. We're going to Farmers State Bank, okay? Colter, the Missoula Mavericks were in action last night in Missoula against Great Falls. The Great Falls Chargers in town. And it was a big night for Charlie Kiergan for the Mavs. He hit a big-time home run in Game 1, got the Mavs a lead. They go on to win 10-6. Dane Frazier, who's had an outstanding season for the Mavs, also had a home run in that first game, a 10-6 victory for the Mavs. Game 2, well, you got a home run. Why don't you start throwing the baseball? Kiergan takes the dish. 107 pitches he threw. 58 of them were strikes. By the way, this is courtesy of Jordan Hansen at the Missoulian. Pitched 5 1/3 innings. I believe there's 7-inning ball games in the doubleheaders, scheduled 7 innings. And the Mavs went on to win that one 9-1. So a strong night for the Mavs last night. They are on the road in Coeur d'Alene tonight, so they had to get on over the hill this evening. Pretty good day for a drive over to Coeur d'Alene, seems to me. So the Mavs will take on Coeur d'Alene tonight. Also, Press release out of the Great Falls Public Schools. Taylor Parker is going to be hired as the next volleyball coach for the Bison. It's pending school board approval. She was a three-sport athlete at Bozeman High School, but then played collegiately volleyball and basketball. Are you ready? Air Force Academy. How about that? And she has been
I remember Taylor covering her when she was in high school, or I guess reading the archives and then following up with her, because I was at the Chronicle when she was at Air Force, so we did kind of a Where Are You Now thing on her. But yeah, great athlete, and good for her. But
she has been the JV volleyball coach and an assistant volleyball coach for CMR for the last 4 seasons, and so now she is going across town and going to be the head coach for Great Falls High. So
I wonder if she made her way to Great Falls because of the Air Force Base.
Maybe, yeah. It's a good thought. I don't know.
One more piece of prep news. I guess it's not prep at the moment, but related to Montana preps.
Yes.
We had Allison Lawrence on the show, University of Montana volleyball coach, a couple weeks back, and we were talking about in-state volleyball talent. Mm-hmm. And one gal that we went back and forth on is Taylor Mims. Anybody that remembers Taylor Mims absolutely remembers Taylor Mims. Taylor Mims is one of the greatest athletes to come out of Montana in the 21st century. I mean, she was multiple-time Gatorade Player of the Year, went to Washington State, and is one of the all-time greatest Washington State athletes in any sport.
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
If you remember Taylor Mims, you do remember Taylor Mims?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Unforgettable.
It's the little.
She's an awesome player, and she was a multiple-time All-American, but she was just named one of the 20 greatest athletes since 2000 at Washington State, period. Clay Thompson topped the list, but Taylor Mims, and she absolutely deserved it. I mean, she was a 2-time All-American, and she has been
amazing.
She's been a dominant pro both domestically and abroad since her graduation from Washington State. But a Billings senior product. Anybody that watched those Billings senior teams, I mean, they were a powerhouse, man. I mean, Jace Henderson, who was a great basketball player here at University of Montana, she was kind of key cog, but they had a gal, Kiana Starner, who was lights out. I mean, those teams, they could have competed in like the Frontier Conference when they were in high school. I mean, they were so good, and really fun to watch, really fun to cover. But Taylor Mims, well-deserved honor as one of the top athletes in Washington State history.
Outstanding. Coulter, it is hour 1 in the books. Hour 2, straight ahead. By the way, this is our Prep Extra segment. It's brought to us by the Farmers State Bank online, farmersebank.com. Again, get in the sweepstakes, download the My Money app, and move some money with Zelle to get some sweepstakes end of the month. $5,000 to the winner there from Farmers State Bank. Up next, it's our ESPN Roundtable. Mike Dugar covers the Seahawks for The Athletic. Where are the Seattle Seahawks at in this offseason? What are their chances of landing Jamal Adams, and how big would that be to return to dominance what was the Legion of Boom? We'll talk all of that and more. Mike Dugar next.
Garden City Paint and Glass is ready to help you with your summer home improvement projects. Their trained staff can help you with your painting and staining projects, setting you up with the right colors and the right brushes, rollers and painting preparation, and they can even color match and custom tint. Garden City Paint and Glass sells only the highest quality paints and stains, so your project comes out right. Visit Garden City Paint and Glass for more information or give them a call at 549-0608. Garden City Paint and Glass, locally owned and serving Missoula for over 30 years.
Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
There's an old saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. The folks at Farmers State Bank know you have a lot on your plate right now and what kind of anxiety that can produce. Farmers State Bank has been helping Montanans since 1907. They are ready and willing to work with you during this challenging time. Call Farmers State Bank. They're here for you today and all your tomorrows. Farmers State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907. Member FDIC.
For more than 40 years, American Eye Care has been offering the best for you and your family with eyeglasses, contact lenses, and vision examinations. Located in Missoula at the roundabout at Higgins and Beckwith, American Eye Care is the only optometrist in Missoula accepting all veterans benefits. Veterans are important to Dr. Lindsey Vanio and his staff because American Eye Care wants to serve those who help serve and protect our country. Located at 1431 South Higgins, or call 549-5550 for an appointment. In 2020, it's all about your vision at American Eye Care.
The world of real estate is always evolving. That's more true now than ever. If you are a longtime Missoulian that is looking to upgrade or downsize, it might be the best time yet to sell. If you're in the position to buy something new, today might be the best time to buy. And no matter what questions you have when it comes to residential or commercial real estate, Mike Nugent and the professionals at Berkshire Hathaway in Missoula have your answers. To find out what Mike can do for you, give him a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Do you or your business have audio needs? Missoula Broadcasting Company has you covered with full-service audio production studios, fully staffed with a suite of equipment with tools to produce professional studio-quality audio. Anything from podcasts to radio commercials, social media campaigns to audiobooks. If you can hear it, we can handle it. Missoula Broadcasting Company is your audio headquarters. For more rates and more information, call me, Colter Nuanez, at Missoula Broadcasting Company today at 406-721-6800.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colter Nuanez. Here's some sports news for you. Another college sports domino fell as a result of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic when the National Junior College Athletic Association announced Monday it will suspend most fall sports competition until 2021. That decision matriculated into Montana with the NJCAA Region 8 members of Dawson Community College in Glendive and Miles City Community College in, guess what, Miles City. The decision affects all close contact athletic events that begin in the fall semester, including football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, and men's and women's soccer. Those seasons will instead commence in January.
Former University of Montana defensive lineman Cole Rosling headed to Butte. The Helena Capital product announced on Twitter on Tuesday that he will play his fifth and final season at Montana Tech. The 6'5", 264-pound D tackle was the 2015 Class AA defensive MVP and a first-team All-State selection for the Grizzlies for the Bruins during his senior year at Capital. Then he came to the Grizzlies where he played 4 seasons, but he struggled to break in the rotation. Only a pair of letters earned, a pair of tackles notched in his Grizzly career.
And finally, as reported yesterday, Myles Garrett is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns finalized a massive 5-year extension with $125 million to the star pass rusher. Over 7 years, he's scheduled to earn $144 million. This Sports Center brought to you by Aaron Pignano of Exit Realty in Missoula.
Now from the Kurtz Polaris studio, here is Ryan Tootell and Colter Nuanez.
Welcome back, hour number 2. You missed anything in hour number 1, check it out on the Tootell and Nuanez podcast. The podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. It is there thanks to Alpine Touch and Blackfoot. If you'd like to listen live and you are just, feel better about it on your device, your computer, what have you, you go to the website, 1029ESPN.com. You listen live there all the time on the stream. The stream is available thanks to Opportunity Bank, your local bank, your opportunity. It is time for our ESPN Roundtable. Each Wednesday, your ESPN Roundtable is brought to us by Paradise Falls. So we go to the Rangich Brothers RV phone line and welcome in good friend of the show. He covers the Seattle Seahawks for The Athletic, Mike Dugar. Mike, good to catch up with you again. It's been a little while. How are you?
I'm good. It's a nice, beautiful day, in Seattle. I'm not going nowhere because of coronavirus, but it's a nice day.
Yeah, open the window.
Look outside at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I got a little. My grandmother gave me some. She gave me some patio furniture for my birthday. So I got that on my little apartment deck, so I can look out and just watch people drive on the freeway. I guess that's my view.
Well, that's that you could do a lot worse than that, my friend. So that's very good. Listen, I want to talk a bunch of. Go ahead, Cole.
Well, I mean, I got to ask him how he's doing before we get into any of the sports questions.
Sure.
But I mean, Mike, I mean, obviously this pandemic has been crazy, but it's completely different in different parts of the country. We have been less affected, at least compared to a lot of places in Montana here. But what's the scene been like out in Seattle? I mean, because you are in a place that's a hot spot, and it's a very a different world than a lot of the rest of us are living in.
Yeah, we got like coronavirus fatigue, as a whole here in King County. And after I think we got to like phase, I want to say like 1.5 or 2, maybe even a little before that, it got pretty bad. Like the numbers I don't know what the numbers are officially. But, like, for example, my birthday's on Friday, right? If I was to throw, like, a big party, everyone would come, and no one would probably ask me, like, hey, man, should we wear masks? Like, it's gotten, it's kind of scary in that regard. Like, I'm supposed to be in a wedding next month, and it's supposed to be, like, 100-plus people, and I don't even know if everyone's supposed to be wearing masks. So that's why I said, it's a nice day. I'm going to be in the house, and I am not throwing a party for my birthday, to be clear.
We wish you a happy birthday, Mike. We're here to celebrate with you right here on the radio. You know what I mean? The cake's in the mail. Okay, you'll have to bake it yourself so that it's all safe. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Seahawks. I want to ask you, obviously, about the Seahawks in general, what their offseason has looked like, what you thought about the draft. But I want to just go into those rumors that were swirling in the last week, and that being involving Jamal Adams. Seattle has obviously been a team that has not been afraid to make a big deal when they went and got Percy Harvin. Of course, they got Jadeveon Clowney for last year, and Jamal Adams, maybe the best safety in the game, and we all know what the Seattle defense looked like when they had a player like that in Earl Thomas and what that defense was able to do. What level of, possibility is there that Jamal Adams ends up with a blockbuster deal going to the Seattle Seahawks?
I probably couldn't put a percentage on it, but I think the history of John Snyder and, like, gutsy trade that you mentioned is very important. It goes all the way back to Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
Like Marshawn is a beloved figure here, but when they traded for him, and I think that was 2010, Marshawn was a very controversial figure at the time. I think he had like a DUI at the time and something else off the field where it's just like people were tired of him in Buffalo. Like, you go read some old like Buffalo blogs, they're like, get this dude out of here.
Yep.
And it goes from Marshawn to Percy to Jimmy to Sheldon Richardson to Jadeveon. Like, John will pull the trigger on just about anything, right? Like they call about every player. I'm pretty sure they have called about Jamal. I would like bet my life on it that they have, but the Jets don't seem to be like stupid, and that's very important because like you can pull off a Clowney trade and not give up anything higher than third rounder because Bill O'Brien doesn't necessarily whatever he uses to value players. His chart is just like off. It was designed by like a third grader or something. The other teams don't operate that way. So if you call the Jets for, an all-pro safety at age 24, they're not going to just say, all right, here, man, we just need a second rounder and one of your backup linemen. No, they're going to be like, okay, we need 2 first-round picks for our 24-year-old all-pro safety, and then John's probably going to hang up. But I don't know if that's been the price, but I'm sure they're working at it. And it wouldn't surprise me if by week 1, if we have a week 1, that he'll be, it wouldn't surprise me at all because that's just what they do. Especially now, they're probably going to lose Quentin Dunbar. So their secondary needs some type of boost. Like they acknowledge that by trading for Quentin. So it's not like anything's changed since then. They would have just been subtracting Quentin. So the secondary then still needs a boost at square one. You got to boost it somehow, and Jamal would be a great way to do it.
Let me ask you this, though. You kind of mentioned, the 2 first-rounders. What do you think is a fair price for Jamal Adams? I mean, he's a 6th overall draft pick, and he has played his way into being one of the premier safeties at this very young age. What do you think is a reasonable expense to acquire a guy like that?
I wouldn't do that. I think the firsts are just too valuable to give up. Look at the position the Bears are in now. They haven't drafted, in the first round, and for I don't know how long since trading for Khalil Mack, right? Meanwhile, the Raiders are loading up on young talent. So I just don't think you can give that up. But yeah, if they want like a first, a bunch of late round picks, and maybe even you throw in a player, whatever, you're getting a 24-year-old All-Pro, right? Like I think that would be the case. As soon as you start talking about 2 firsts and then you probably got to pay the guy, that's a problem. But what's interesting about the Jamal thing with Seattle is they seem to be on the list of teams that he would get traded to, and then you don't necessarily have to pay him right away. If that's the case, and him playing with Russ is enough to just be like, you know what, I like it here. I like function. I left dysfunction. I like a competent organization. I'll stay here for a little bit and not demand a new contract. Well, he's under team control for 2 more years then. So in that scenario, I almost would say the 2 firsts you can do, because all Seattle's going to do with 2 firsts is draft 2 guys that nobody likes. And if you can just avoid your doing that and you get Jamal Adams in return and maximize having Bobby Wagner and Russell Wilson in their primes while adding another All-Pro to the mix, I would rather actually do that. So if you don't have to pay Jamal right away, then the 2 firsts, maybe we could bite.
From a football perspective, if Seattle is able to swing this trade, what sort of influx is that for the Seahawks defense?
You need All-Pro talent, right, to win the Super Bowl. That's just what it is. I went back and actually looked at the teams who competed in the last 9 Super Bowls. This was a month ago. You're not gonna get there without at least an All-Pro guy, right? Like Pro Bowl is a different measure because anybody can make the Pro Bowl, for what it's worth. It's really hard to be the best at your job, or at least one of the best 2 guys in some cases with All-Pro. You need them, right? Bobby's been the one, but if no one else is gonna be that, then you need another guy. That's just what it's gonna take. It's not going to happen in such a tough division unless you have elite players. Like, that was what was so special about the Legion of Boom. There was a guy pretty much at every level of the defense who was top 5 at his position. Like, Mike B was probably a top 5 edge guy. Bobby was obviously a top 5 linebacker. And then Earl, Cam, and Sherm were all top 5 at their respective positions. Some of them the best at their position. And right now, look at the Seahawks. How many guys on any side of the ball, to be honest, are top 5 at their position? You probably just get Russ and Bobby. That's not enough. With Jamal, you add something else to that. And when you do, then you're tipping the scales in your favor. So I think that you have to have that elite talent. Without it, the Seahawks don't have a Super Bowl roster.
You mentioned that the Seahawks, for quite a long time now, I mean, definitely the Pete Carroll era, but maybe even a little bit before that, have had a reputation of going after guys that maybe are outspoken characters, or guys that maybe if you don't take them the right way, maybe can rub people the wrong way. That's always been one of the most appealing parts of the franchise to me. I love the personalities they've had and the way that they've given those guys a great platform to express themselves. And you mentioned Michael Bennett. I mean, he was an awesome figure in Seattle. Doug Baldwin fits that same mold. Marshawn Lynch, Richard Sherman, these guys have risen to levels of expressing themselves and standing up for what they believe in, as much as just being pro athletes that entertain people. Why is that, though? I mean, have you thought about the connection between the franchise and their makeup as well as Seattle in general? I mean, is there a harmony there between the city? Have you considered why guys that seem to be a little bit more outspoken do thrive at that specific team?
I really think it has a lot to do with Pete Carroll. That's just kind of what he, believes. He's the oldest coach in the league, but he's not old school in that way. I'll give you a quick example. I'm doing a story on the Griffin twins. They played at UCF. Their first coach that recruited them there was George O'Leary. That probably rings a bell for a lot of college football fans. Right? George was very, very old school. Right? Like, all the guys had to shave their facial hair before every game. On Friday, you couldn't get on the bus if you had anything more than a mustache. Right? He made everybody with dreads cut their hair so that it was shoulder length. He made everyone wear the same wristbands and cleats and ankle tape, and no one could wear a visor. Everything was very strict, right? And they hated that, right? The players threw a party when he resigned. And so when Scott Frost came in, he knew to UCF, he was like, yo, I can't act like that because I'll lose these guys, right? They need to be having fun. And what do you know? They went undefeated in 2017. Pete Carroll has already seen the George O'Leary effect and a lot of guys are like that. It ain't just George O'Leary, but a lot of guys are like that. And Pete's seen that the other way is better, right? He has more fun, and the players have more fun when they're doing it the opposite of that. You're not the drill sergeant guy trying to keep everything uniform. If a guy comes in with 5 missing teeth and 1,000,007 tattoos and a blonde mohawk, as long as he's on time for work and knows his assignments on the field, Pete's going to play the guy. Right? And if one dude comes in with the army cut, no tattoo, says yes sir, no sir, he'll play that guy too, as long as he knows the assignments and shows up on time. because Pete operates that way, he'll welcome, anyone, and he'll empower them to be the best version of themselves because he's learned that that's, the best way to get it done. And he's right. I mean, being that whole drill sergeant thing, that's just not going to work, especially when the demographic of athletes that you have. You're grabbing kids age 23 through like 29, young black dudes. You just being that drill sergeant guy, you ain't going to resonate. Right? So Pete's figured that out, and it works. Right? That's why you see so many people who they feel good in their skin, when they come to the Seahawks.
Mike Dugard joining us. He covers the Seahawks for The Athletic. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike Dugard. And Mike, I want to talk a little bit about the Seahawks draft. We haven't gotten into this too much. I haven't gotten into it at all with you. And it was another one of those, if I may say, Seahawk-y drafts where it wasn't particularly overwhelming. There wasn't the big pick, even like a DK Metcalf last year. Their first-round pick, a linebacker, which is, Jordan Brooks. I don't know what to think about him as a player. I'm sure he's very good, but usually positionally, linebacker is not a high priority in a lot of places, but they go first round with a linebacker, then the defensive end out of Tennessee in round 2, and a guard out of LSU in round 3. What do you think about the Seahawks draft?
Okay, so here's the thing with the Seahawks. This is how I view their drafts, right? If they do something where I have to evaluate it as good, I have to accept that the Seahawks are the smartest team in the room, right? If that's what I have to do, then I just can't buy it, right? Like the Jordan Brooks thing. Jordan Brooks could probably be a fine player, right? But there seems to be no one that I trust with draft evaluations except for one guy. I found one guy who knows draft stuff and was like, that's a good pick. Trust him. Everyone else is like, I would have taken Jordan in the 3rd round. I would have taken Jordan late in the 2nd. There was no team other than maybe Baltimore who was going to take him at 27. Right? That's what I heard. So that means the Seahawks are asking me to trust them to be the smarter than everyone else. And because of their track record with their top picks, I just can't. You've lost the benefit of the doubt, John Snyder. You have, right? You haven't drafted a first-round pick that anyone likes since 2012. Like, that's a problem. You know what I mean? You haven't drafted a first-round pick to make it to a second deal with you since 2010. That was Earl. So if you're asking me to say that, all right, look, this pick seems wonky, but trust me. Look, John Snyder, I just say, well, I don't, right? Because I don't have any reason to. You haven't built that up. You don't have that type of currency with me for me to buy that. So that's how I look at least the Jordan pick. Every other pick seems fine for the most part. The last pick they traded back into, I think Stephon Sullivan, that one was a little weird. It's because he was on the best offense in the country and didn't catch a touchdown. Joe Burrow threw like 700 touchdowns, and it's like he wasn't very productive in that offense. So that was a little questionable. The running back they took also wasn't very productive. I'm big on production. In college, I know traits are obviously important too, but like if you just weren't productive at all, I'm naturally skeptical. Doesn't mean you can't be good, but I'm just skeptical. So I like the 2 pass rushers. I like the guard from LSU. The draft as a whole just seems to be a lot of trust us, guys. We know what we're doing. And if I'm looking back at John Snyder and the rest of his staff, I'm like, I don't trust you. You haven't proved to know what you're doing since like 2012. You know what I mean?
Well, if Joe Burrow threw 700 touchdowns and you didn't catch a one of them, that's a lack of production, no doubt about it.
Right.
Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, Mike. It seems like after the first 2 rounds, the Seahawks have drafted well. Would you agree with that over the last handful of years?
Well, let's look at it. 2015 was bad. Everything after Frank Clark and Tyler was awful. 2016, their late picks were, I think, like Joey Hunt's there. I think Riso Diombo, Quentin Jefferson. It was but not great. I think Alex Collins may have been in that as well. He didn't stick around. So it was okay. 2017, they hit on Chris and David. So that was great. That's Chris Carson and David Moore. That's great, but then that's kind of balanced because they whiffed on Ethan and Malik, so you're not really sure. They drafted an all-pro punter in the back end of 2018. That's great, and they got Trey Flowers, so the back end of 2018 looks pretty solid. Let's see, who's the back half of 2019? I can't remember. Is that John Ursua? Is he in the back of that?
You cover the Seahawks for the Athletic, Mike. Let's just be clear here.
It's all running together right now. So John Ursua, I think they get him in the back end of the 2019 draft. So that looks to be okay. So they do all right. Really, it's the late rounds of the value is that they're really finding it. But I think to really build a championship defense, or a championship team, rather, you need to eventually hit early. You know what I mean? Like, Bobby was a second-round pick. Even someone like Frank, I think, was second round. Russ was third, but, Earl was first. I think Russell Okung was a first-round pick, too. So, like, you do need some elite talent there, and it's a lot easier to find it in the first, 100 picks. If you're just hoping to find Chris Carson's and Trey Flowers every year, or Richard Sherman's and Cam Chancellor's every year, you're just not, right? It's not a sustainable model for success. So I do trust them maybe later in the back half of the draft more than I do in the front. But if you're asking me, hey, this is our first-round pick, I know it doesn't make sense to everyone else, but trust us. I'm like, no, man. No, you're bad at this, John. I don't trust you.
Well, it seems as if the common narrative around the NFL is that sustained success, which very few franchises actually get, to be in the playoff mix for a full 10-year stretch like the Seahawks have since Pete Carroll took over as the head coach. But the common narrative is that it's all about the draft. It's all about managing the salary cap and managing the draft effectively. There is a lot of murky waters there in terms of the criticisms they maybe you have about their drafting over the last half a dozen years or not. But what in your mind, what defines the Seahawks then? How have they been able to be sort of baseline 10 or 11 wins year in and year out during the entire Pete Carroll era?
Oh, it's actually pretty simple. They drafted Russ.
Right.
Look at the teams who have sustained success in the last decade. Look at all the top winning percentages of the top 5 teams in the last decade. Pretty sure it's New England, I think Kansas City, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and Green Bay. Maybe New Orleans is in there too. But look, what do all those teams have in common for the most part? They drafted quarterbacks. Right? They have the same quarterback the whole decade. So if you draft a quarterback, you can your margin for error just skyrockets once you draft a quarterback. Right? You look at a team like the Bears in 2018. They're a really good example. And the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2017. They had elite defenses. The 2017 Jags are elite. That defense is ridiculous. 2018 as well, right? But look how fast they fell apart. Not because the defenders got old or started getting worse, because their quarterback stunk. Like Bortles stinks, Mitch Trubisky stinks, right? They stunk so fast that now the both franchises had to turn it around. Now Gardner's fixing things in Jacksonville, but you have to get a quarterback. And when you draft so well, as the Seahawks did in 2010, 11, and 12, they drafted 4 Hall of Famers across 3 drafts. That should, in theory, set you up for the future like it did. So the Seahawks have been able to be good every year because, A, they drafted 4 Hall of Famers in 3 years, and they drafted a quarterback. Any team that does that, no matter what you do in the subsequent drafts, you're going to have success as long as your health, is fine. And the Seahawks got pretty lucky with health until about 2017. So that's what I would credit their success to. It's a good coach, and it's a Hall of Fame quarterback that they drafted in the 3rd round.
All right, so heading into this season with the team that they've got, you got DK Metcalf going into his 2nd season. Obviously, Tyler Lockett, a very established commodity at the position. Still got Russ sitting back there. You got a very old Greg Olsen, but who knows what happens there. Maybe Will Dissly coming back, a good Montana guy. If you got a Montana guy playing on your football team, it's a Super Bowl run. I mean, that's what it is.
It's been the trend as of recently.
No question about that. And then, still L.J. Collier, very underwhelming in his rookie season. Maybe he bounced. I don't know. What do you think about this team in its 2020 iteration as it's shaping up?
So I'm assuming they don't re-sign Jadeveon Clowney, and I'm assuming that Quentin Dunbar, for some reason, whether he's in jail or suspended or on the commissioner's exempt list, he is just unavailable in some capacity. I can't necessarily predict how, but I do not predict him being available. So looking at an offseason where their best move was what? Signing B.J. Finney, drafting Jordan, who is not aligned to start, signing Greg Olsen, Phil Dorsett. I don't know. I honestly do not know. I thought Dunbar was the best move of the offseason. So because how the roster is constructed now and how Pete believes winning should happen, and that's by running and playing great defense. Well, you don't have a great defense. And the problem with Pete Carroll's philosophy is not that it doesn't work. The Niners just got to the Super Bowl by running and playing great defense. But if you don't have a great defense, you have to switch it up. The Chiefs are like, look, in 2018, we're just going to have our guy throw 50 touchdowns. If the other team throws 50, That's cool, but we'll just throw 51 and win games, right? That was their way to do it. Now they got to the AFC title game. We're like, all right, maybe we need at least a pass rush or something. So they traded for Frank. But in general, Andy Reid was like, we're just going to score 30 and figure it out from there because their defense wasn't great, right? And it's still not great. They're just really good at scoring 30. Pete Carroll has an offense that could score 30. Like, he has that. The roster should tell him, get out there, score 30, and it doesn't matter what you do after that. It doesn't matter if your defense can't hold water because your offense is going to score 30. Because he doesn't think that way, he's trying to ground and pound 2010 Mark Sanchez Jets this whole thing. I just don't believe in their ability to win a Super Bowl that way. You can build a top 5 offense, without top 5 talent. I really do believe that. One of the homies that covers the Seahawks kind of just mentions to me that that's Kyle Shanahan's philosophy. But what he also believes is that you cannot build a top 5 defense without top 5 talent. You need the talent. The Seahawks just don't have it. You're not going to scheme up a great defense. You're just not. And Pete's tried it the last couple of years, and their defense is getting worse. Like every year since 2016, it's gotten worse. And I don't see it trending the other way, without a pass rush.
Mike Dugar joining us. He covers the Seahawks for The Athletic, at Mike Dugar on Twitter. Okay, you talked to us about the offensive philosophy and how maybe that should change. It should just, you got the talent on that side of the ball to go score some points. Where are we at with Brian Schottenheimer? I know there's a lot of murmurs when he got hired about coming from, a 25th ranked offense when he showed up in Seattle. They've been somewhat productive. I realize he's the run guy and all that, but you got a couple great pass catchers, some productive tight ends as well. Where are Seahawks fans? Where are you at with him?
I think most fans, if they don't know, they should understand that all the offensive coordinator can do, he doesn't have autonomy, right? Like, he can only do what Pete Carroll allows him to do. It's not like some cases like a Sean McVay and Wade Phillips, where Sean McVay is like, I got this side of the ball. You just, Wade, you do what you got to do. I'm going to approve it because I'm the CEO, but Wade, I'm going to let you rock how you rock, and we'll go from there. I mean, he fired Wade, but he had autonomy in that way. No one on the Seahawks staff has that. Norton has to do what Pete believes. Shoddy has to do with Pete believes, and that's it. Obviously, they design the defense and the offense, but they don't have that much freedom. I think, personally, Shoddy's probably doing the best he can do with what Pete allows. And that's not to say that, he's got, mutiny brewing in his heart. He also believes, too, because he was the coordinator on that Mark Sanchez team I referenced. He was the one grounding and pounding it with the Bart Scott Can't Wait team and all that stuff. That was him. So he believes that, too. That's why they work so well together. But the problem is, this roster, there's no way you can convince me, right? Because Pete believes in balance, right? He's like, balance is the way to go. You can't convince me that balance is giving the ball to Chris Carson 25 times and targeting DK and Tyler Lockett a total of 10. That's not balance. That's stupid. That is lopsided. That's imbalance. By definition, you are feeding one person the rock more often than you are distributing it equally across the rest of the roster. That's what Pete believes, though. He has a definition of balance as it pertains to offense messed up. So Shoddy has to work with that, and he's got it messed up too. So even if they're great minds, they're going at it the wrong way. Their whole philosophy is based on bad math. So yeah, of course it can produce some numbers because Russell is great, Chris Carson is great, and they've got some decent run blockers on the roster. But to really light it up and win and go to the Super Bowl and be the best team in the NFC, I don't see that happening unless the light bulb comes on over there and they say, we should throw it. And until that happens, I just can't believe.
Mike Dugar joining us. He covers the Seattle Seahawks for The Athletic. And Mike, I want to pivot and ask you a little bit about the state of the world as it is right now, because I think that one of the main storylines that maybe isn't getting written about a lot in the mainstream media, but has certainly been written about quite frequently at The Athletic, is the vast experiences of racial injustices have happened across the United States of America recently, the subsequent then riots that have stemmed from those. And I think a lot of us that work in sports, most of us that work in sports, it's been particularly painful for all of us because, as Ryan and I have talked about for weeks and months now, one of the great places where there is a melting pot, where people do come together from all different races and backgrounds and a variety of different areas, is sports. I mean, you see it in college football particularly. I know you saw it a lot when you were covering Washington State and Idaho, places in the rural Northwest where people of all different ethnicities and backgrounds come together. And it's similar in the NFL, too, with the way the locker rooms work. But you mentioned, I mean, the demographic of the NFL is largely young African-American males. And I just want to know, what do you think of what's happening in America today and how that might impact the mental avenue that some of these guys use to prepare? I mean, we've seen it in the NBA. The NBA guys are talking, man, there's a lot of distractions out there that are a lot more important than basketball. How will this affect the way that we're going to prepare this summer? What's your NFL perspective on that note?
Well, I think it's important to note that the idea of sports being an escape from reality is a form of privilege, right? Like, only a certain group of people, largely white men, have the privilege to use anything to escape from reality. Because when you are black, everywhere you go, you are black. Right? It doesn't matter if I just happen to be on the Seahawks or the Cowboys, or if I'm in a tennis match, or I'm on the Oklahoma State football team. I'm always going to be black. I can't escape my blackness. There is no, even if I put on this uniform that everyone else is wearing, you still see that I am black, right? So there is no such thing for black people as escaping. Sports cannot be an escape in that way. And that's very important because you have to understand that sports and race always intersect. They always can. We're talking about a sport like football where black people weren't even allowed to be in this league that we're talking about. There's still people alive now who remember black people not being allowed to play in this league. You look at the NFL's top 100 list that they've been putting out last season, I think they had these white receivers from the 40s. Those dudes played against, they could not play against black people. And there was still an era that, if you did have black people on your team, they need to be in even numbers, right? Because they needed a roommate, and no white guys wanted to room with them. There's always been an intersection of race and sports. And I think what we're seeing now is it's become you can't turn a blind eye to it anymore. You have to acknowledge that it's a thing, right? No matter whether you want it to be or not, you have to acknowledge it is a thing. And I think that's kind of waking some people up in some regard, they're legitimately being enlightened by hearing some of the things that players are saying or that coaches are saying, or the protests, the messages on social media, whatever it is. And I think that once we kind of accept that sports is not an escape for everyone, because it can't be, and that's a form of privilege, and once you understand that, I think we'll get less tension when, someone brings up, cash bail systems, during their press conference about establishing the run, or when they bring up someone like Breonna Taylor or George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery right after a game or before a game, or uses their platform to do that, or for a team puts out a Black Lives Matter message. Once we get that behavior normalized, right, by a largely industry run by billionaires, rich white male billionaires, right? Once we get them on board, I think it won't be, social justice won't be viewed as a distraction. It'll be viewed as another cause that we can simultaneously care about while also caring about football. No one calls Breast Cancer Awareness Month a distraction, right? But what does breast cancer have to do with football? Not a damn thing, right? But no one views the month of October that way, right? We need to get social justice and racial tension to that space in football. I'm not sure if it's going to get there this year, but you guys can see it's getting a lot closer than it was in 2016 when Colin was like, hey, I got this thing I want to say. And the NFL was like, shut up, go away. Right now, you get people, Baker Mayfield, he's talking about he'll kneel with his teammates. Even Bill O'Brien said he would, coach of the Texans. We're getting to a place where we are normalizing caring about the plight of black people. And I think more than anything, as it pertains to race and sports, that's the most important thing we need to get to. Normalize that to a point where if we have a social justice awareness month or something like that, people don't boycotting outside stadiums, because it's just as important as a cause for mental health or breast cancer or supporting damn troops. So I think I've seen that shift over the past few months. It's been met with some resistance, but overall I think it's getting closer to being normalized, and that's been really good to see.
Mike, as always, we appreciate your time, your perspective on sports, your perspective on the world at large in general, and we look forward. We hope that we are catching up with you throughout the season, that means that we had a season and that it was safe to have a season, which we are all hopeful, optimistic for, however you want to say it, and we'll look forward to catching up with you when that happens. All right, man?
I appreciate you guys having me, as always. Yeah, hopefully we're talking during the season.
You got it. Mike Dugar, birthday man. coming up soon. At Mike Dugar on Twitter. Again, covers the Seahawks for The Athletic. Does a great job, as is Seahawks podcast as well. You can look that up and check it out. It's our ESPN Roundtable presented by Paradise Falls.
First of all, I got to say that was one of the best pieces of perspective we have heard on this show when it comes to the social unrest that exists in America today. And I knew Mike would give great perspective because he's an incredibly sharp guy and an incredibly intellectual guy who does a great deal of research, and I think he thinks and feels a lot of different things. And I thought that was awesome perspective by him. So I really appreciate him sharing some of his thoughts with us. But as you said, the ESPN Roundtable, proudly presented by Paradise Falls in Missoula. It's a beautiful night, so go check out that late happy hour. Monday through Thursday, the late happy hour at Paradise Falls runs from 9 until 11 p.m. The sun's still shining at 9 p.m. You can see the sunset in the distance if you sit out on the back deck of Paradise Falls. Got half-price beers, half-price mixed drinks, half-price apps, and $3 beers.
There you go.
18 different beers on tap. It's one of the great places you can go in terms of social distancing because this is a gigantic room, so they have room for you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
There's a patio, too.
You got a patio, whatever you need, located there on the south side of Missoula, 3621 Brook Street, Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
It's time for a Wing It Wednesday. Colter Nuanez has your questions, a couple of trivia questions for you. We'll see if we can't get a winner, get some prize going, get some wings for you. That coming up right now, 361-3688, 361-3688. Call us. Colter will have some questions. We'll do a Wing It Wednesday right after this. Listen, I know you know 5 realtors, and I know your brother-in-law's cousin is a realtor, and your mom's best friend's daughter is a realtor. But can those realtors juggle knives? Can those realtors swallow fire? Can those realtors walk across hot coals? Well, neither can Aaron Pignano. But he can give you the best service and take good care of you when you're buying or selling your home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or have done this a few times, call Aaron Pignano at 406-241-0024. That's 406-241-0024. Or check out search406.com.
There's a reason the Desperado has been voted best wings and sports bar in Missoula. Start with the wings. Despo wings are never frozen, which is why they're always big, juicy, and tender. And the burgers and steaks at the Despo? They purchase them each day from a butcher shop right here in town. And when it comes to drinks, the Despo has the coldest beer on tap and is always served in a frosty mug. All this plus the NFL ticket every Sunday, Grizz games, and the friendliest staff in town. The Desperado Sports Tavern, across from the Y on Russell.
We've missed short drives to see friends, long drives to see family. We've missed road trips, car camping, heck, we've even missed commuting. We're grateful to be getting back on the road, and Les Schwab wants to help you drive safe, just like we always have. To help get you rolling again safely, we're happy to offer up to $110 off a set of 4 select tires. Les Schwab Tires. Doing the right thing matters. Limited time offer while supplies last. Actual discount amount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
Florence Coffee Company believes in bringing you the best this summer with real fruit puree and our cool and refreshing drinks, like a Bellini soda made with real fruit puree and soda water, or a matcha bliss smoothie with the intensity of matcha green tea blended with a variety of fruit flavors like strawberry, mixed berry, peach, mango, or banana. Stop by any of our locations across western Montana for a refreshing summer drink today.
Florence Coffee Company.
Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
Whether it's an orthopedic injury or wearing a face mask, Missoula Bone & Joint has got you covered. Missoula Bone & Joint is open and ready to take care of your orthopedic needs. Things may look a little different, but you'll receive the same quality orthopedic care you've come to trust. No appointment is needed at our orthopedic urgent care on Mullen Road. Missoula Bone & Joint. We've got you covered in more ways than one.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colton Nuanez. Here's some sports news for you. Another college sports domino fell as a result of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic when the National Junior College Athletic Association announced Monday it will suspend most fall sports competition until 2021. A decision matriculated into Montana with the NJCAA Region 8 members of Dawson Community College in Glendive and Miles City Community College in Miles City. The decision affects all close contact athletic events that begin during the fall semester, including football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, and men's and women's soccer. Those seasons will instead commence in January.
Former University of Montana defensive lineman Cole Rosling on the move. He's headed to Butte. Helena Capital Product announced on Twitter on Tuesday he will play his 5th and final season at Montana Tech. The 6'5", 264-pound defensive tackle was the 2015 Class AA defensive MVP and a first-team All-State selection during his senior year at Capital. During his 4 seasons with the Grizzlies, Rosling struggled to break into the defensive line rotation. He earned a pair of letters and recorded a pair of tackles during his Grizz career.
And finally, Myles Garrett is the highest-paid defensive player in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns finalized a massive 5-year extension worth $125 million for the pass rusher. Also, the Tennessee Titans have given Derrick Henry a big contract, 4 years, $50 million, $25.5 guaranteed. The Sports Center is brought to you by Aaron Pignano of Exit Realty Missoula. Welcome back to Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. SWX Montana Television, outstanding to be with you. Just a quick snippet from that news deal, Coulter. But football, volleyball, basketball, sure. You want to play soccer in Glendive in January? No, thank you.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, gracious mercy. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. It is time for a Wing It Wednesday, so we go to the phones. We welcome in Justin to the show. Justin, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good. Glad to hear it, Justin. So here's the deal, my man. We got 3 questions for you. Specifically, Coulter has 3 questions for you. If you get all 3, you got yourself a shirt and wings. If you only get 2, we're still giving you wings to the Desperado Sports Tavern because we like you that much. The best wings in the city of Missoula. If you need any help on any of these, I am your lifeline for better or worse. How's that sound to you?
Sounds great.
Boy, some chicken wings would really hit the spot. Tummy likey. Tummy want wingy.
All right, Justin, here we go. Now, Coulter, what kind of questions do we have?
These are all
here?
about major championship golf.
Whoa, golf majors. Justin, are you a golfer?
I mean, I can hit it out of the fairway, but that's about it. And I don't watch any, so this should be interesting.
Okay. All right, here we go. Major championship golf. Let's see what we got here, Justin. We're going to have fun with this thing.
Ryan will actually maybe be able to help you a little bit more than normal questions with these. We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Too much on me.
Jack Nicklaus has won the most major championships in the history of professional golf with 18 majors. Tiger Woods right behind him with 15. There is 4 other players that have won at least 8 major championships in their careers. Can you name one of those 4 players to win 8 or more major championships in their careers?
Well, we'll have to go with Phil Mickelson on that one.
Pause it.
We're going to pause and maybe wrap back around.
Phil is an excellent guess, I must say.
He's close.
He's at 5.
Okay, so Jack Nicklaus is the only player to ever win one of the majors 6 times. Okay? Which of the 4 majors did Jack Nicklaus win 6 times in his career?
I mean, it'd be a complete guess with me. We want to do lifeline on this one? How are you feeling on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can do lifeline here. I'll tell you, I'm not 100% on this, but I had an immediate reaction to this that I feel I would be surprised if I'm wrong at this one. Do you want to use it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think it's the U.S. Open. Oh, Coulter just looked like he choked on his deal there. Is it the Masters?
I give you a hint. It was Jack's last major, 1986, one of the signature moments in all of golf history when a 48-year-old Jack Nicklaus?
Well, it's either the Open Championship or the other one. The PGA. It's not the U.S. Open?
It's not the U.S. Open. Jack Nicklaus won the U.S. Open 4 times, 1962, 1967, 1972, and 1980.
Okay, go to the next question. Come back.
Okay, you guys, this is not any fault of Justin's. This is just a misalignment of questions with person, because these are certainly very hard.
Well, clearly I thought I had a beat on U.S. Open.
Okay.
I would have really thought that.
Okay, this is a pick a player.
A variety
question.
pack? Okay.
47 players have won at least 2 majors, okay? Of these 5 contemporary guys, only one has won 2 majors, okay? So pick the one out of these 5 contemporary players who has won multiple major championships. Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, Zach Johnson, Justin Thomas, and Justin Rose. Which of those 5, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, Zach Johnson, Justin Thomas, and Justin Rose, have won multiple major championships?
I mean, this is going to be a total guess, and I'd go with Dustin Johnson.
I got news for you. You've just won wings to the Desperado Sports Tavern. Excellent work, Justin. You picked it. You didn't even pick a Justin in there, and you are a Justin. So you even went against your own. Is it Justin Rose, Coulter?
No, Justin Johnson, Jason Day, Justin Thomas, and Justin Rose have all only won 1. Zach Johnson has won 2.
Interesting.
Well, and I'll give you another one. Is that the name's Dustin anyway? So I just went with mine, and it's common. So
there you go.
Wait, so you did pick your own name. Okay, no wings then. No. Dustin, I'm glad we got your first name right at the very end. I'm glad we went over, and we don't care around here, okay? I messed you up. It's just it doesn't work. But you know what? That doesn't mean you shouldn't get the wings anyways. That's what I think. So we'll set you up with those from the Desperado regardless. All right, my man?
Sounds good.
All right. Dustin, a winner. Our first Ofer winner, I think, ever on the show. So is Sam Snead somebody who's won 8 or more?
Sam Snead is not.
Arnold
In
Palmer?
fact, Sam Snead won 7, as did Arnold Palmer.
Oh, man. All right. Who won 8?
Walter Hagen won 11 majors.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Hogan won 9. Gary Player won 9. And Tom Watson won 8.
Gary Player won more than Arnold Palmer, huh?
Yep. Gary Player won 5.
So was it PGA? Is it the PGA that
Jack Nicklaus
won 6 of?
Jack Nicklaus won the Masters 6 times.
That's what I said second.
I know.
Oh, you didn't acknowledge.
He didn't take it.
Okay. All right. Well, another successful segment comes to an end. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Boys and girls, summertime, okay? You don't want to mess up summer the way we've messed up the trivia. So you go ahead and you go to Kurtz Polaris. Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy. Now that it's warm, time to get outside, get on the mountains, get on the lakes. You like going on 2 wheels, they got dirt bikes for you. Beta and Husqvarna dirt bikes, top of the line. They got their full line of Polaris side-by-sides, brand new. Rangers, Generals, Razors. They got a full service shop in there at Kurtz Polaris as well. You're going to take care of not just the purchase, but the maintenance of the vehicle forever. You also get yourself on the lake with a Crest pontoon boat. Crest pontoon boats, top of the line, perfect for the season. Nice and warm, great to be out on the lake. Online at KurtzPolaris.com. Summer, the way you've always envisioned with Kurtz Polaris. Yes, Polaris is open. The great outdoors are wide open, so why not make the most of it during the Polaris Summer Sales event? Take the family on a cross-country adventure with Polaris General, the world's most comfortable, most powerful sports utility machines. Kick up some dust in a Razor, the off-road's most thrilling performance side-by-sides. Grab the bars of a legendary Sportsman ATV and discover the freedom of unstoppable performance. Or get more done between your fence lines with Ranger, America's favorite off-road workhorse. There's never been a better time to say yes to outdoor adventure. Enjoy rebates up to $1,000 on the off-road's best during the Polaris Summer Sales event
event at Kurtz Polaris. Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula and Highway 83 in Sealy. Kurtz has all the best in off-roading with dirt bikes and side-by-sides, and now Kurtz has Crest pontoon boats in stock for the season. Summer is here at Kurtz Polaris, online at kurtzpolaris.com. Offers valid in U.S. on new 2016 through 2020 vehicles. Offer vary by model. See dealer for details. Always wear a helmet. Never drink and ride.
After a long couple of months, it's finally feeling like we're getting back to business as usual. But it's not the usual at all. At Missoula's Wingate, we are, as always, committed to giving you a relaxing stay at a great value. But we're also balancing the new guidelines like maximum pool occupancies and increased disinfecting to protect your health with a never-ending pledge to make you feel at home when you're not. If you find yourself on the road in the Missoula area, please consider staying with us at Missoula's Wingate.
Hello, Montanans. Times have been uncertain, but we here at the Montana Club have relished seeing how our communities have pulled together. We've been grateful to serve you delivery and takeout, which we will continue to do, and we are excited to announce that our dining room is open again. Thank you for supporting us during this time. We can't wait to see you and serve you all of your Montana Club favorites. As always, we are here for you. We are Montana. Welcome back to the club, the Montana Club, on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Listen, I know you know 5 realtors, and I know your brother-in-law's cousin is a realtor, and your mom's best friend's daughter is a realtor. But can those realtors juggle knives? Can those realtors swallow fire? Can those realtors walk across hot coals? Well, neither can Aaron Pignano. But he can give you the best service and take good care of you when you're buying or selling your home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or have done this a few times, call Aaron Pignano at 406-241-0024. That's 406-241-0024. Or check out search406.com.
Our patients spoke, we listened, and then we took action. Convenient parking, easy drive-up access, shorter wait times at check-in. Yes, that's right. Missoula Bone & Joints walk-in orthopedic urgent care on Mullen Road now has its own dedicated entrance. Enter under the blue awning when you have an urgent orthopedic injury or condition. No appointment is needed. Come directly to the specialist and let us take care of you. Open weekdays, evenings, and Saturdays. Missoula Bone & Joint. Quality care from people who care.
Tootell and Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Missoula.
Welcome back. Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. SWX Montana Television. Happy summer afternoon to you. Thanks for letting us be with you across the state, on the internet, whatever it might be. However you're hanging out with us, we appreciate that. If you missed anything in the show, check it out on the podcast, the Tootell and Nuanez podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. It's available all the time, thanks to our friends at Opportunity Bank. It's also available, available thanks to Opportunity Bank. The podcast available thanks to Blackfoot and Alpine Touch. Coulter, we didn't touch other than in the trivia on the fact that Dak Prescott has signed the franchise tender. Will play for $31.4 million this year. He is a player as a quarterback that to me is maybe the hardest to evaluate in the league.
Absolutely.
As far as whether he's good or not. He's good, but how good is he or not? And he put up great numbers. This, as was well documented, the 6 quarterbacks who threw for the most yards in the league last season, not one of them made the postseason with their respective teams.
Right.
He's got numbers that are questionable against teams with winning records, but he also has, I think, demonstrated great competency and how much this, lays at his feet or not. And you and I both probably share the same opinion of Jason Garrett. So what's it look like with Mike McCarthy? What do you think about Dak Prescott and his future with Dallas?
Well, I think it's one of the most interesting franchise tags that's ever been signed in the NFL, because I think that if he lives up to what he thinks his potential is, what his camp thinks his potential is, he could then break the bank. I mean, he could then become one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He already is with this franchise tender for 1 year, but he could get himself a long-term deal that really would have a huge impact and ramifications around the entire rest of the NFL, because it would have an impact on how much Deshaun Watson's going to get paid. Regardless of what Dak Prescott does, whether he plays up to the contract and gets himself a huge deal or doesn't, it's going to have ramifications around the rest of the league, but also it's a huge deal for the Cowboys too. I always hate on Dak Prescott, and the thing I always harken back to is if you name all the other, I'm not sure he's quite in the company of the elite in the league. I think he's
he isn't.
Right. But just name a quarterback and then have the fantasy scenario of trading that guy to the Cowboys for Dak Prescott. Right?
Yeah.
If Russell Wilson plays for the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. If Aaron Rodgers plays for the Cowboys win the Super Bowl.
Well, no.
And you can go on. All I'm saying is, though, the Cowboys would be better if you put the other elite quarterbacks in the league on the team, and the team that those guys would be leaving that would get Dak Prescott would be worse. That's how I evaluate it.
Yeah, I mean,
Deshaun Watson would be better with the Cowboys than Dak Prescott, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Deshaun Watson's better than
Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's
Josh Allen.
That's an interesting one. Well, no, Josh Allen not yet. Josh Allen probably, but he's certainly not proven. But I guess my deal is, I don't know when. I want to see these quarterbacks go through moments when all of a sudden you believe, like, he makes some plays down the stretch that win you a football game, and you go, wow, Dak Prescott got it done when it mattered to win the football game.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that it's never happened, but I think that, a lot of the games that the Cowboys have won, he facilitated but wasn't responsible for, if that makes sense.
I mean, he's a consummate game manager. He's one of the best game managers in the league.
And I think he's a very good quarterback. But I understand the hesitation, especially after a 10-year, $500 million deal, or whatever. And by the way, he's what, 4 or 5 years older than Patrick Mahomes,
right?
So you can throw out the idea of anything like a 10-year contract. I mean, you would think a 4 or 5, maybe 6-year contract extension, but it's still it is a huge decision to make on the duration. The Cowboys are much happier unloading $31 million on him this season,
right,
and seeing how it goes than unloading $250 million on him over the course of the next 6 seasons or whatever that contract would end up being.
And I think that's the underplayed portion of this storyline, because there isn't an owner / front office decision maker that irrationally falls in love with players at an elevated and sometimes unjustifiable level than Jerry Jones. Yeah. He fell in love with Jason Garrett and let that experiment go on for twice as long as it should have. No other premier franchises let guys go 8-8 all the time like the Cowboys did with the amount of talent that they've had. No, it doesn't happen. Jerry Jones has these irrational love affairs with guys. That's the biggest story of this whole thing to me, is that Jerry Jones clearly loves Dak Prescott, but he didn't go all in on him. The trend, almost the unbreakable trend, would have been that he gave Dak Prescott the keys to the kingdom, but he didn't. And so I think that's the biggest storyline, is that Jerry Jones maybe is waking up a little bit.
Well, and also I think that it also maybe is an indicator that Stephen Jones is becoming more influential, because,
right.
I mean, Jerry Jones, if he had his druthers, would have drafted Johnny Manziel, if you believe the reports that were coming out of Dallas. And not just Stephen Jones, everybody in the camp, but Stephen Jones especially, saying, no, we're not going to do that. And maybe that is part of this as well. It's a hard puzzle that they're in. It's a good puzzle in some ways, but a difficult one for sure. But we know what's going to happen now. 1 year franchise tag. Boys and girls, Tootell and Nuanez. Stick around for Spain and Company right after this. We'll be back with you tomorrow. It's ESPN Radio.
The world of real estate is always evolving. That's more true now than ever. If you are a longtime Missoulian that is looking to upgrade or downsize, it might be the best time yet to sell. If you're in the position to buy something new, today might be the best time to buy. And no matter what questions you have when it comes to residential or commercial real estate, Mike Nugent and the professionals at Berkshire Hathaway in Missoula have your answers. To find out what Mike can do for you, give him a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana.
Automated Living is a Missoula-based smart technology company. If you are looking for a new home theater, some quality hi-fi music on your deck or den, a screen and projector in your boardroom, one button to turn off all the lights, cameras to monitor your parking lot, or a security system to keep you and your family safe, Automated Living has a solution for you. We make our clients' lives easier and more enjoyable while giving peace of mind with streamlined control of all elements in the home or office. Contact us today for a free consultation.
Yes, Polaris is open. The great outdoors are wide open, so why not make the most of it during the Polaris Summer Sales event? Take the family on a cross-country adventure with Polaris General, the world's most comfortable, most powerful sports utility machines. Kick up some dust in a Razor, the off-road's most thrilling performance side-by-sides. Grab the bars of a legendary Sportsman ATV and discover the freedom of unstoppable performance. Or get more done between your fence lines with Ranger, America's favorite off-road workhorse. There's never been a better time to say yes to outdoor adventure. Enjoy rebates up to $1,000 on the off-road's best during the Polaris Summer Sales event at Kurtz Polaris. Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula and Highway 83 in Sealy. Kurtz has all the best in off-roading with dirt bikes and side-by-sides, and now Kurtz has Crest pontoon boats in stock for the season. Summer is here at Kurtz Polaris, online at kurtzpolaris.com. Offers valid in U.S. on new 2016 through 2020 vehicles. Offer vary by model. See dealer for details. Always wear a helmet. Never drink and ride.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana. KKVU HD3 Stevensville and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula.
Here, and they'll have to do the same thing once they get to Orlando to get 3 positive tests as well. Their first game is until July 31st against the Dallas Mavericks, but they're missing valuable time trying to prepare for what they believe will be a championship run.
Nick Friedel writes on ESPN.com that Jamal Crawford admitted that he was surprised when the Nets reached out last week with an opportunity to get back in the league. Crawford at 40, now the oldest player in the NBA.
Coming up Thursday, the latest on the NFL franchise tag deadline and a check-in on the NBA bubble. Will one team in the West have nothing to fear? Plus, we book it Thursday on Go With The Wingo, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
One of them is a sports savant. The other one is Ryan. Tootell and Nuanez. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on 102.9 ESPN Radio. This is Spain and Company on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Company. Sarah Spain, Jordan Cornett with you on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, including our next guest, co-host of Ebro in the Morning on Hot 97 and the co-host of the Michael K. Show on ESPN 98.7, Peter Rosenberg. Peter, thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks for reaching out to me. I appreciate it.
So I have to admit, over the course of the last couple weeks, I've come to realize that we might have a pretty significant anti-Semitism issue in sports. It's not something that I thought much about and had considered much in terms of athletes. And now, between Dwayne Wade supporting Nick Cannon before deleting and revising his comments, Steven Jackson supporting Deshaun Jackson, and some others, it feels like this is a conversation that we maybe need to have. Have you been surprised by these things, or did you feel this undercurrent before?
Let's see. Maybe in terms of sports, I hadn't thought about it, but the role that I play on Hot 97, which